Well, if there's anything that's overlooked on the web, it is the use of market research and user feedback to help in the design and development of websites. In fact, it's almost amazing to me that this is done, but most websites are built in a vacuum, where basically very few people have feedback into the site's development other than a few key stakeholders in the company. And many times the key stakeholders in the company have no sense of how people actually use the site. They just make assumptions and go from there, and they make huge decisions on the website design and development process based on what their assumptions are about how people will use a website. Well, we really believe strongly that you want to throw out the assumptions and you want to actually do the research and get feedback from users to find out if your website is effective. And let's jump into 4 key ways to do this. And we found that these are the most cost-effective and provide the most information. One is to do straightforward user surveys where you put a basic survey together asking people to give feedback on the website. This can be done online or just in person, face to face. But surveys are 2 great ways to get feedback from people, either online or offline surveys. And then focus groups. Focus groups have their pros and cons. It's important that if you're going to do a focus group, you have a professional do it for you, because they can be very complicated in the kind of results you get if you don't moderate them properly. But focus groups are a great way to get user feedback and interaction about your website. And you can put it out there for them to see, and then give you the direct feedback. And you don't even have to limit it to your website. You can go into competitor websites as well, and you get some great information. And then the 4th area is user testing, and this is what we think is the best way to go. For the bang for the buck and the return that you get from the time put into this is absolutely amazing. So I want to talk with you just a little bit about the fundamentals of user testing or usability testing on a website. If you're going to have an effective website, this is something you have to do. You don't have to do it at a high level of research capability. You can do a very basic user testing session with just a microphone and a camera, and asking a few questions and getting some information back from the users. I think what's really important when you do your user testing is that you don't go in and wing it. You do have something planned, and that you put people through tasks. You don't ask them what they think about your website, because you're just going to hear it's fine. What you want to do is you want to ask them to do a task, and the task could be simple. Go in and take a look at our products and services and contact us for more information. As they're doing the task, ask them for feedback. When they stop at a page, ask them, what do you think? What does this do for you? Does it impact you in any way? Give us some feedback as you go through the site. And you'll hear some amazing things. So user testing's got to be done at some level. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a huge project involving a lot of professionals and white lab coats and things. It can be something that's on a very basic level. But you need to do it to get the best results for your website. User testing also goes a long way to giving you the story behind website stats. Now, we look at a lot of website statistics, and they're great for telling us what's happening on a website, where people come into the site, where they leave, what they do on the site, how they found the site. But they don't tell us very key points of information. For example, why did you leave so early? Why didn't you visit this page? Why didn't you convert into a customer? One of the most important stats is the bounce rate. This is customers that come in and leave immediately. Now, we know there wasn't a connection there because they left immediately, but we don't know why they left immediately, and we don't know why there wasn't a connection there. So definitely user testing will help you identify these unknown, intangible things behind your web stats. So diving in a little deeper here, let me give you some nuts and bolts of how to conduct a user testing session. First thing you want to do is pick a neutral location, and this is important because you want a neutral web experience. If you do user testing at your office on your website, you're going to have a skewed perspective from users toward a positive experience, because one of the things that users do in user testing is they don't want to upset you. They don't want to hurt your feelings. They know it's your website. They know it's your company. They are going to be inhibited from saying anything negative, when that is exactly what you want. You want to see negative behaviors on the site, and you want to hear negative comments. So find a neutral location and bring users to a neutral location. And then as you go through the different tasks that you ask them to do, Observe them using the website. Don't help them. Make sure you record the session, and there's lots of software out there that'll help you record the user testing session and where they click and all these other things. But observe them as they go through it, and get a sense of where is it that they're stumbling, and what's happening here at this moment, and ask them, what are they thinking? Don't ask them their opinion. Don't ask them to judge anything. Just have them tell you what's going through their mind at that point in time. Take notes or record. You can record, like I said, using various software tools. We use ScreenFlow for the Mac. There's Silverback also for the Mac, and there's a few out there for the PC as well. If you do a little bit of research, you'll find them. But it's very important that you don't help them, and they will ask you for help. And it's so important that when they ask you for help, you say, what is it that's stumbling you up here? Or what would you do if you were at home and I wasn't here, or if you were at your office and I wasn't here? So it's very important not to help them. And this is a very key point. Don't blame the user for not knowing how to use your website. I mean, if someone is at your site and they want to do business with you, it's kind of like saying they came to our store, they put their money on the counter, but they couldn't figure out how to buy the product, so we didn't take their money. Well, you help them, and you design a website that allows them to buy from you or contact you. We've done a lot of user testing sessions, and it's we often hear from our clients who tend to say, well, the user didn't know how to use the website, or they're a very low level entry user on the internet, and they didn't understand how to do this or that. That is no excuse. Any user who's on your site should be able to use it and make it work for them. Often I'm asked this question, well, how many users do you need? Well, what's interesting is you don't need many. In fact, let's say you have a website that is an e-commerce site and you are selling products. You just need 6 to 8 users coming in to search and buy your particular product before you get up to 80% of the key issues with the website. And you'll see this immediately. Once you start the user testing sessions, the first 2 or 3 people will find 80-90% of the issues with the site. And then as you do more users, those are reinforced again and again and again. Now, the more users you do, you will hear some unique comments, and they'll do some unique things. But you want to get to the heart of the issue here, and just 6 to 8 users will help you find the majority of the problems with the site. It's really fascinating, too, that when you do user testing, be ready to be surprised by what people do. I mean, you will see people do things on the site that you never imagined they would do. And this is where the real gold is in this process, and it can really help you. We mentioned this earlier. Just be aware that users will blame themselves. They will want to please you. They'll want to try to accomplish the task. In fact, they'll feel like they're being tested. And one of the most common things that users say in user testing sessions is, well, I'm not very good on the web, or I don't understand how to use the websites, and I always mess up when I do this. Well, that's not an excuse for your website to function poorly. Users should be able to come into your site, not have to make those kind of comments, and get the task done efficiently and in a short amount of time. And we also talked about the ideas behind the different abilities of users, and they certainly exist. And there's a direct proportion between the older the user is, the more difficulty they'll have with the internet in general. But let me also tell you this, the older that your user is, the more money they have, and the more likelihood that they could become a customer, because these people are hungry for the use of the web. And in fact, if your website is appealing at all to seniors or folks that are 50 plus years old, it needs to be easy to use, because that is a marketplace that is more than willing to use the web and would love to land on a website that is simple, easy to use, and valuable for them. So in a nutshell, this reviews some of the key things you need to do as far as getting feedback from users, and kind of wraps up step 2 of design and development. So try this user testing and give it a shot. Even if you go into it kind of rough your first time, it'll give you some tremendous feedback.